Okay, let's start. I will open the creation pawn. Let's connect this to the Samsung first. We have the assembler and we have list here. Okay, so if we start now, we have list. I deactivate this button, so there's nothing here, and I will delete everything. And let's say goodbye to the switch character visibility, the array, and I will just leave the assembler here with this. That's all. And open the character creation component. And here in the assembler, we're gonna get the pawn that we get here in load pawn, the reference. So if we have the reference, we can use it here, creation pawn. And let me go step by step. We'll get the root first. So get root. And then we will try to find all the children here, because we can have, for example, mutable assemblers, or we can have skeletal meshes or whatever. But we're only interested in the assembler, okay? The character assembler. So we'll get the children's here, and for each one of them, we'll cast to assembler, character assembler. There. So basically we'll go through all the children's here in the creation pawn, and we will only get those of the type character assembler. Okay, and we'll add it to an array, a new array. There. That array will be called character assembler array, and it's an array of assemblers. Okay, we'll use it to toggle characters, because we will use that functionality from here, from the character creation. Okay, and if you remember correctly, in the assembler we have the character DA, which is basically the dataset that we load here. So we'll get that, get character DA, and we will add it to another array, call it character to load. So we have two arrays. This is an array of assemblers, okay, of this thing here, and we'll use it to toggle characters. And this is an array of data assets, okay, of all this, and we'll use it to load the character basically. Okay, now this thing here, or I will say in this thing here, we'll add all the characters that we want to load in our character creation. So it will be modular, and the next thing is that we can append this to an array and, for example, create a character that are unlocked later on the game, or I don't know, evolution of a character. That's the great part of all that. Before we continue, I want to add a debug feature, so let's call it debug. Okay, this is just a simple boolean that we will use to toggle characters. Basically, we will use this thing here to debug, and this array here to manage all the logic. You will understand how this works in a few minutes. Okay, so let's get the character to load the thing here. For each one of them, connect this like this. First we will check if we're debugging or not. In fact, if we're debugging, we will skip this part. I will not connect this yet, but it will be here. And what we're gonna do is to get the assembler and get from this index. What is the difference between debugger and not debugger is that if we're not debugging, we'll have to create add component by class of the type assembler, okay? Assembler. Repeat character assembler. So if we are not debugging, we will use this, and if we are debugging, we will use this. Here, this is the DA, and the character to attach these two is our creation point. There. So, if we're debugging, sorry, we will use the one that we have added here, and if not, we will add new assemblers to this part here. There. Of course that in the false part we will clean this, or we will ignore these ones. Okay, now we will promote it to a local variable called local assembler. There. If we go to the false part, to the part where we are not debugging, we have yet this array. Okay, we need to create this array in this part. So we'll add this assembler here, this local assembler. This is basically the same array that we will use here, but if we go to the false part, we are not debugging, we didn't create that because we don't have children to get the reference. So we have to create this stat here. Okay, now finally we will initialize the assembler. The character creation component reference is actually this one, so we're in the component. And now we need to set the visibility, set mesh visibility. Careful here, is this event, this one, okay? And what I prefer to do is to toggle on the first one and toggle off all the other ones. So we'll get from this, let's make a robot node. There. We'll say, is this equal to 0? This means that it's the first one. And we'll toggle on. If we are not using the 0, it will be off. Okay. So there. this should work just like that. For example, let's suppose that we are debugging and we have two characters here. So let's add another one, assembler, and this is list, and this will be an array. The first one is list, so we should see list here. This is not working, of course, because I basically, let me show you, disconnect everything here. So they're not working for now. But if I change this to 1, we have array. So the truth is that we have here, let's check, two characters. You have here, it's a ancient transition, it means that it's generated by the mutable component. So this is the body, and this is the head, this is list, and this is the body, and this is the head, this is Roy. Okay, but these two are generated by the mutable component. Remember that we have the retouch, we have the tag, the collision, everything. So we have two characters. One is visible and the other not. In this case, we are using the one, which is this one. This is always hidden because this is the root, okay? This is the UFN character. But here, the body should be visible. Why not? Well, it's not showing, but believe, no, sorry, this is female, this is list, this, the second one, and this is the body, this is visible there, and the the face is visible too. So this is Roy body, this is Roy face, this is a root which should be invisible, and this is list, and everything here should be invisible, invisible, invisible. There. So it's working. Okay. The last thing that I want to have is a reference of the character that we are looking at the screen, the current character. We can get that from the local assembler. So we'll get the DA, character DA, and in our assembly we have a character enumeration. There, get character. We promote this to a variable called character, and we will set this only if we are looking at the character. Okay, if we're actually seeing that character on the screen. So if it's visible, set this. There. We initialize all the characters, but we only toggle on, in this case, the first one, and in that case, the first one we set the variable character. Okay, let's connect all this so we can finish with the code part. This goes here. Now, the character to load, we need to clear this, the beginning of the true part. I will show you in a few seconds why. I will add a function here to unlock characters here, and that's it. That's everything. I just need one function here. That is the funny part, and I will show you. Okay, here I have two assemblers. We have list and we have Roy. Okay, list and Roy. We can toggle between these two yet, but this is list and this is Roy. Okay, list and Roy. Now let's suppose that here in our character to load we have the UFA mannequin female and the UFA mannequin male. So we have two things here. In one part we have the array that drive our system and define what characters to load, and this thing here. So the way I try to create this is this. The debug function, I'm tired. The debug boolean actually define if we are using these assemblers here or the one that we specify in the system. So if we are debugging, we will clear this array. We will not use this. We will create a new array based on the one that we have here, and then we will get one by one, okay, because this is now with all these assemblers initialized again, and we will initialize the assembler and toggle on the first one, etc. But if we are not debugging, okay, we will skip all this and we will add a new assembler. Okay, we will recreate the array, the character assembly array, because we need to toggle that characters, and we will do the rest. So I will just do it like this. Okay, if we're not debugging, we will use male and female, and the first one is the female, so we'll just show the female now. But if we are debugging, we will use these two here. It should be the opposite, but well, we have there. Okay, now you will understand this if we have more characters. So let's do this. I will just set as debugger the male and the female, just for reference, and here I will set it to royalties. And I need more character to show you how to unlock characters and all that. Okay, so we need to make a design decision. The way Mutable works for now, or not Mutable, but our system, is that you have the customizable object instance, and if I switch this to Shigeru, I have Shigeru with its skin and icon with the corresponding skin. So you can literally just change this variable inside the customizable object instance. However, if you do that, you will apply all the other parameters and customization to the new character. And if you, for example, make a Fat Roy, because you create a morph that create the belly here, and you switch to Shigeru, you will have a Fat Shigeru too. Sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes you want to be able to switch character, but keeping all the customization in each one of them. That means that you will need to create several customizable object instances, for example, one per character, and only change one at a time, keeping all the other customization in each one of them. This is like, for example, I don't know if you play Skyrim. Sometimes I spend, I don't know, an hour or 2 hours trying to make my character the way I wanted. And if, for example, I say, okay, now let's test the female or the Kashyyyk or another character, and I lose everything. I lose that hour and a half spending time on that character. And that happens because basically you have one template to load all the customization inside. And Mutable allows us to have several instances of the same character, because basically it's the same. If I change this to female, and this you have the female here, basically. So it's the same. The definition of what is male and what is female is just just an enum. So we can use customizable object instance per character, because we are just loading one customizable object. These are just instances, like material instance, but we are loading literally one character. and because we are toggling on and off the characters and we are not loading all of them at the same time, it shouldn't be a problem. But in any case, if you don't like that, you can just use one and keep all the customization in a variable or in the save system and then load them again, or just refresh all the options and use just one. But in my case, I will just create all the characters. This will be Shigeru, and this will be Shigeru. Another one, this will be Icon. And for this, let's duplicate, let's create Megumi. And Kyla. There. So we have our 6 characters. We need to create the data assets now, and we have here only Mutable Roy and Mutable list, so we need to expand that. This is the enum characters for 3, 4. Let's change to Mutable Shigeru. Icon, Megumi, and Kyla. Okay, so now let's create the DA. So duplicate that. This will be Shigeru. Bring it up. Change Mutable Roy to Mutable Shigeru. And here, instead of Roy, we'll use Shigeru, the same body, and instead of Roy, let's use Shigeru, and this will be Shigeru's hair. Okay, remember that is Shigeru's head. There. Shigeru, this is all correct. Duplicate this again. There will be Icon. I think that you already understand what is the target here. Icon is Icon. Is Icon and Icon. And this is Icon head. Should be careful here with the module name. Icon head. So that's correct. Okay, so Mutable Icon. Icon head. There. We have Icon. List. Duplicate list. This will be Mutaman. Yes, this will be Megumi. Okay. Megumi here, Megumi here, and this will be Megumi here. Mutable Megumi. And finally, duplicate Kyla. Mutable Kyla. Kyla here, and this will be Kyla head. Let me check once more. Head, Kyla here. Yes, correct. I need to check the height correction later. Probably it will be the same. Okay, now that I have all these characters, let's create some defaults. Default will be Roy and Liz. Okay, Roy and list. And here I will create, no, sorry, let's do two more. Let's say Icon and Kyla. Okay, so we're debugging, we will see the mannequin there. We are not debugging, we should see 4 characters starting with Roy. Liz, Icon, and Kyla. Yeah. Okay, it's working. Our code is working. Now, in order to show you how to unlock characters, I think that we should start with the widget first. Actually, I just finished the code and it's a lot of work. I don't think that we'll be able to do all that in this class. Let me show you what actually I did. This is the dev, okay? This is the other project. Here we have the male and female and 3 characters. I can swap between these 3. Change to female, the same. And if I, example, no, not here, in the assembler, you suppose that I have just 2 characters, Rizaloy, Shigeru, Megumi. I will only load these 2, okay, and these 2, but if for some reason, for example, here I made a quick setup. I have characters to load empty, base character, these 4, Roy, Liz, Megumi, and Shigeru. I have these 4 characters, but I have unlockables characters, and here I have Icon and Kyla. So if I unlock them, because I know I reached certain level, I have now the 3 and the 3. And if I reset that, I have now only 2. So the possibilities are infinite. Really, it doesn't matter how do you set up this. Let's select this, and this, and let's restore my 4 characters: Roy, Liz, Shigeru, and Megumi. The problem is that to correctly communicate to the mutable object, this mutable object, I had to write a lot of options. This one. Well, these 2 are simple, but this is complex. This is actually quite complex. This function change name, and I will have to explain each one of them. And we need a reference that we get. What? I think that I changed something here. No, not here. Where did I change? Here. The get the main CO function. Okay. So we have to write some code in order to get this thing, and this thing, the reference of the customizable object, which is basically the thing, is what I am using here to do all the logic. It's a lot of work, and it will require a lot of classes. So let's just do let's just hardcode I will hardcode this part without all these bars on the right, and show you that it's actually working. We need to code 2 things. First is a function that will allow us to toggle the character, and we need to fix something here in the set mesh visibility, because there's something wrong here. Let's start with the toggle function. toggle character. Let's add an enum here of the type character. Let's call it new character. And what we're going to do is to get the assembler, or I will say the array of assembler, all the characters that we have loaded in our creation pawn. For each one of them, we will check that first we get the DA this get character DA, and from there the character. Okay, and we need to check that this is equal to this thing here. It's new character. Okay, so with the array of all the assembler, and we search for the one that we want to change basically, and if we found it, we will set mesh visibility there, this function, this here, and if it is the character that we want to change, we will set it to on, and if it's not, we'll set it to false, so we will hide it there. Okay, the function is actually quite simple. Toggle characters, let's add it to the, well, I will change later. And there is a problem here, because here when we set this to on, we are not propagating it to children and set the visibility of the root to false. So if we set this to on, we will hide the root and everything below, and if we set this to off, we will set the propagate children to true, and we will hide everything. So basically this only works once, because what we're doing is to remember that we have the root and then the mesh, the body, and then the face. Those are the children's. We're hiding the root and showing or not the rest, but all the meshes that were hidden will remain hidden. There's nothing here that that allow us to toggle on the character. So I will show you the bug first, the problem first, and then you will understand. Okay, in the initialize, in the load widget, let's add here a reference of this component. Let's delete this, the player controller, and create a VPC characterization object reference. This is a reference of the component that is inside our controller. So let's expose it and make it editable. So now here in our load widget, if we refresh this, we have here exposed the reference. Let's click get a reference of self. We have initialized this variable here inside the component. So now let's do this. Let's change this to royal list. We have here a list will be Shigeru, so it's an S, and this will be Megumi, so it's an M. Shigeru Megumi royal list, and we will call toggle character, just like that. Toggle character. This is Megumi F and R. Sorry, let's change this. This is button M now. Why? Because we have here the S. This is button S. Let's change this to button Shigeru, so it will be easier. This will be the button Megumi. This will be the button Roy. We will add this button dynamically in the next class. Don't worry, but let's hard code this for now. Okay, this is Shigeru, this is Megumi. Roy, Alice. And let's change this to Shigeru is Shigeru, Megumi is Megumi, Roy is Roy, Alice is Liz. Done. So there's a problem here. Let me check this. We are loading the 4 characters. Now, Kayla and Nico, no. I want Shigeru and Megumi. Done. We have Roy, okay? And here you can see that we have the 4 characters. This is Roy. There. We have here Liz, here Shigeru, and here Megumi. But these 3 characters are hidden. We are only showing Roy. But if I hit, for example, this button here, there's nothing there. And the problem is that we're hiding the character. We're hiding the character when we in the assembler. Here we just show the first one and we hide the other ones, and here there is no way that you can actually toggle the visibility to on, because the root will always be hidden and the rest of the meshes will always be hidden. It doesn't matter if I set propagate to children true or false, because this is false, there will be no change here. So what we need to do is to look at this, set the visibility to true. Actually, a few changes. Delete this and connect this to the new visibility. There. And set propagate to children to true. So when this is on, we will set the visibility of the root on and propagate to children. And if we set to off, off and propagate to children. The problem is that now we're showing the root. So let's copy and paste this. Connect this to this target and negate propagate to children and visibility to hidden. So this will be responsible to show the character, and this will be responsible to hide the root. Now this should be working. Liz, Shigeru, and Megumi. Okay. Finally, it's working. We can toggle characters. And if we have, for example, 8 characters here, or 6 characters here, and we have the 6th button, it will work in any case. Okay, I want to stop the class here because I don't want that this class to be 2 hours long. I think that we will call it a day. And in the next one, we will add all the mutable character creation component into operation, and if we have time, some UI. So see you in the next class, guys.